Yo, what's up? It's your boy Caesar. I was having trouble manifesting and I needed to find out why. The reason was I was too obsessed with what I wanted. So either I would keep reimagining the same thing at random days, or I would keep adding things or taking away things, or trying to control how the manifestation was going to happen. I was not trusting the end. So everything that I was trying to manifest would kind of start manifesting and then it would stop. Or it would just mess up. And I didn't know why or how. So I went back to basics. And I started to want, I was like, I'm going to manifest a coffee. So I imagined the coffee. I closed my eyes and I imagined I was holding the coffee. I imagined smelling the coffee. And I said, thank you for this free cup of coffee. So I said, okay, it's supposed to work. Let's see. But this time, since I had something to prove, I was more obsessed with the coffee. So I was like, so I started thinking like, what if I don't get the coffee? Or when am I gonna get the coffee? Or who's gonna give me the coffee? And I was like, you know what? These are the things that are gonna mess up the manifestation. So let me stay away from these thoughts. So how did I do that? All I had to do was get something else I actually want as well. So I mean, it was a coffee, right? But since I wanted it because I wanted to prove something, so now I imagine something else. I imagine money, or a raise, right, on my paycheck. So I was like, okay, I also want this. So you know what? Let me just prove to myself that I'm gonna get the coffee, right? So let me focus all my obsessive thoughts on the money. I'm gonna get the money. I'm gonna get the money. So I could get the coffee. Because when you manifest, when you imagine, it's like you plant a seed in your brain. You plant a seed, right? And then once you let time pass and you don't obsess with the seed, with the thought of the coffee, it's supposed to grow and then you receive your manifestation. But I wasn't doing that. So now I focus whenever I would start thinking I haven't gotten the coffee, I would start thinking, I was like, oh no, I already got the coffee. That's in the past. I already got that. And then I started thinking, oh man, my paycheck. My paycheck increased by 30% or 40%. And I just started thinking, I make, I don't know, $90,000 a year and stuff like. I started just putting all my attention on that, which was exciting, and it used to get my emotions going and my imagination going. So I removed all my attention from the coffee, and I had to do that like 5 or 6 times throughout the time, and then I got my free cup of coffee. It took 13 days. I went into a store where I know people, and one of the clerks was talking to me and telling me a story about them going to a concert, and they had new coffee. The coffee package was so bright. It was all red and it had a bunny on it. And there was one that was purple and one that was blue, I think. So I was like, hey, what is this? Like, this doesn't look, what is this? It looks like sugar. And he goes like, oh no, it's coffee. And I was like, man, that's the craziest packaging I've ever seen. And he goes, I know. Do you want to try it? Go ahead and get one. And I'm like, are you sure? He goes, yeah, go ahead and get one. Try it. Once I got it, I hand shook the person. I was like, thank you. You just completed my manifestation. Thank you. So that's how it happened. All right. So basically, the way this worked, everything, you have to apply the same thing to everything. And I wasn't following the rules. I was messing it up because let's say I wanted, I don't know, let's say I wanted a bike. And then I was like, you know what? Instead of that bike, I want this other bike. And let's say that bike was in, I don't know, Alaska. I started thinking, what if I imagine that the bike is closer to where I live? And then I started doing things like that. I started messing with the end. And what is the end? When you imagine the end of your manifestation, is you imagine you already having it. Circumstances don't matter. It doesn't matter where your manifestation is at. It's gonna come to you. That's up to the universe. But whenever you, which is me, whenever I started trying to control things, I messed the whole thing up because I didn't let the seed grow. It's like I started digging it up and moving it around, trying to control the growth of it. I messed it up. So I started just seeing like, man, everything's messing up. So let me go back to basics. And even trying to do the basic manifestation of a coffee, I had something to prove, so I kind of added pressure to it. So I kind of wanted to obsess on that. So now I know this is what I'm gonna keep on doing. Right? I'm gonna get two things that I want, and the thing I want the most, I'm gonna imagine that, and then let this go, which means not pay attention to it. And whenever I want to doubt it or think about it, I'll just bring the other thing that I also want, and I'll imagine that, like I have that, like I want that. So all my attention is gonna go to this other thing, while this other thing will come and will grow. It's supposed to work because that's just the law and that's just the formula. Whenever you and me start trying to mess around with it, that's when we start messing it up. All right. So I will keep you guys updated with more manifestations that I start using this technique, and yeah. So stay tuned so I could update you guys with whatever else I manifest. Peace. So on August 20, I decided to manifest the coffee. But remember, they say don't tell what you're going to manifest. So I said tea, but it was actually a coffee. And here on September 2, you could see that now I have the coffee. And it took me 13 days. If I could do it, you could do it.